Hey, luminaries. We have the most beautiful Taurus new moon coming right up. And if you've been thinking about money, value, and just cultivating worthiness in your life, your business, and your brand, this is the new moon that you need to set your intentions to. Before we dive in, if you want to be notified whenever a new video drops, hit that subscribe button. If you already have, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for supporting this channel, Star Powered with Leslie Tagorda. That's me. Welcome to Star Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii-born Filipino Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be. All right, friends. Oh my goodness. I am so excited about this upcoming Taurus new moon. We have a new moon coming up on Tuesday, May 7th. This is at 8:22 p.m. Pacific, 11:22 p.m. Eastern. And if you're in Europe or, across time zones there, this is actually happening for you in the wee hours of May 8th. And so this is one of our very first new moons of the year where it's just so loving. There's not too many hard aspects. Actually, I don't really see very like any hard aspects. Venus is in her home sign of Taurus, the ruler of this new moon. Mars is in Aries. There's no squares or oppositions. Everything is sextiles and trines and opportunity and flow. Yay! Because we've already been through the ringer. And so, of course, Taurus new moons, we think about money, we think about finances. And yes, those things are important. Yet, what is more important is not the money, but what you do with the money, what you want to invest in yourself, what you value, how you feel about yourself and your work, that it's something worthy, that inherent worthiness in you simply because you are you. This is really what this new moon really wants you to tap into. How do you cultivate value and prosperity? Now, value and prosperity, it's not just necessarily like this ending point. I just read this article the other day in San Francisco about the number that I live in San Francisco, an incredibly expensive place to live in the United States. And to retire in San Francisco, you needed like $4 million in the bank. Whew. Okay, yes. If my priority is to have a easy retirement, that I don't have to work, that I can just relax and like live my lifestyle as exactly as I have it now, then okay, then my goal is going to be $4 million. But if that's not my value, like if I want to continue working, or maybe I don't want to live in San Francisco, then $4 million is just an arbitrary number. And so if you are wanting to set a money intention and putting a number or quality on some kind of energy, I want you to get behind, well, why do you want that number? What will you buy with it? How will what you buy add to your values, add to your sense of prosperity, add to your sense of peace and abundance? So I want you to think with this new moon, what do you want to create, cultivate, that will appreciate? Because success, prosperity, worthiness, not a destination, it's an inherent feeling. Now, if you don't feel worthiness, like if you don't feel worth, like for whatever reason, right? Of course, as a person of color, as a woman, there's society tells me all these reasons why I am not worthy. So if you're falling in that bucket, right? Then part of this new moon for you is to really come to terms with what is that feeling of worthiness that you want to step into. How can you get to that inherent worthiness? It could simply be like, I intend to feel worthy. I intend to see my work that I contribute as valuable, as making a change, as something that people want to purchase, that people want to invest in themselves, invest with me. And so if you're already not feeling that kind of inherent value and worthiness, that you have something of value to contribute, that is where I would start. Because no amount of manifesting and wishing and intention setting for money is ever going to happen if you don't already feel that inherent sense of value and worth. Okay, so let's talk about this Taurus new moon. Today, I want to share about, of course, this Taurus new moon. We're going to look at some of the astrology of this Taurus new moon. And at the end, I'm going to give you all signs. We'll be looking at how to best set your intention for this, for your sign. Okay. This Taurus new moon, I'm calling it Lush. Even though my theme for this new moon from a business perspective is cultivating value and prosperity. But in my mind, I have this vision of lush. And this new moon is particularly lush because the new moons of like the last like 6 months have felt like kind of prickly. We've had all of these, challenging aspects. We've had our, the eclipse seasons, all the tumultuous cosmic weather that has been, yes, absolutely expanding, and we're being asked to grow, but growth isn't necessarily comfortable. And that's why this new moon says, okay, relax, get your feels, feel luxurious, get a little bit comfortable, because you know what, you deserve it. You earned it. When I think about the word lush, to me, this is such a Taurian word for me. I imagine like this kind of pastoral or a tropical forest, a meadow or forest, someplace in Mother Nature, that this place is overflowing with plants and the fresh fragrances of all of the wildflowers and the blossoms and the trees and the fresh air and the stream. Just all of your senses are alive. The foliage are dripping with dew, and the air buzzes like with the songs of animals and birds and the wind, right? You smell and you taste and you feel on, it's a sensory like pleasure, rich and provocative and so rooted. Now, oftentimes we think that, okay, in the natural environment, Mother Nature is going to regenerate and, make even better. But if we really follow the teachings of indigenous people who have cultivated the land, whether these are people in Vietnam who've created a living forest that feeds, an entire community because they've planted the right plants, they've cultivated things. You should look up living forests in Vietnam, some of the amazing things that people have done there. Or say like in like the Western United States, where indigenous people, were creating small forest fires to get rid of brush to prevent bigger forest fires, but also to allow, big sequoias and things to, for their, what are those called? Like those pine cones to burst so that they could reproduce. I believe that this idea of Mother Nature, humans do have a role in cultivating and making spaces even more, making natural places even more productive. And I would love to see us come back to this place of protecting nature, regenerating nature. I know I'm talking a little bit of Scorpio, but Taurus, opposite Scorpio, this feeling is all the same to me. The physical sensations that connect my body to the space in comfort and peace, that connect your body to a space in comfort and peace, that is Taurus. To feel held, to feel supported, to feel grounded in a peaceful place surrounded by the gifts and the abundance of Mother Nature. So, in your life, if you love, to on a Sunday morning to be in your comfortable bed with the crisp, clean sheets, with the sun streaming through, reading a book and sipping your coffee, that's Taurus. Or maybe what brings you peace is sitting in a cafe with a croissant and, on your laptop, or with a nice friend, whatever that kind of physical sensation and satisfaction of all of your senses, that is what I want you to cultivate. Because when you have that physical comfort and peace, and you can embody that and you can create more of that, that's what your vibe goes out and it attracts more. I promise this is always the way to feel comfortable and relaxed and satisfied in your body, is always going to attract more of that. And so When you're thinking about your business or your work or your leadership, oftentimes that is the opposite, right? We are so anxious about how that next launch is going to go. We're anxious about, like, getting on that live or the Zoom or presenting. We're anxious about, are people going to like this? But what if you could embody your lushness and your peace, ground yourself in your peaceful prosperity before you go out and do things? What would change in your work? When you think about this idea of a lushness in your business and your leadership or brand, what is it for you that cultivates this sense of embodied peace, embodied verdance, where there's just more and more, and you're just like dripping with abundance? What do you want to create that increases that feeling of being held and supported? What is it that you want to build that will increase and grow into lushness over time? What is it that you value that increases your feeling of prosperity? Now, if you have been listening to me at least for a couple of seasons, when we had that last episode, 2 episodes ago, about Jupiter and Uranus meeting up in Taurus, we talked a lot about values. Because when you know what your values are, and bring it down to 5 values. If you have so many values, see if you can group them into certain areas, because this is going to give you focus. If your values are spread too thin, you're really not valuing anything. And so when you can discern your values and let your values guide your work, right? Value is something that holds importance. Values, you can look to your moon for your personal values. You can look to your 11th house cusp for your social values. You can look to your second house cusp about the value of the things that you need to invest in yourself and the gift that you give to your clients. Whew. When you understand those values, you can lead your life, make your decisions, and invest in those things in yourself. Your values are what you hold important and of worth, and it's subjective. Don't let society, don't let anybody else tell you what you value. And when you know your values, you can justify your behaviors according to your values. You can then measure what is valuable. And so this Taurus new moon is saying, hey, my friend, get clear on what you value and what you are going to cultivate, to invest, to make more of in this new cycle. Now, all of this cosmic turbulence that you have experienced, that I've experienced with, the Mercury retrograde, with this Jupiter Uranus conjunction, with the eclipses, I hear you. I know that a lot of us, including me, have been struggling, whether we don't have enough money, we don't have enough energy, we don't have enough capacity, right? Enough. There's so much scarcity in that. But this cosmic turbulence has gifted you with the recognition of what's important to you and why it's important to you. So I want you to really hone into what you've learned from this beginning part of the year, so that you can recalibrate and you can reshift and you can set a new clear intention of what you want to invest in. Right? Remember, investing is committing time, energy, resources on what matters most, and devote to take action, soul inspired action that is aligned to your values. So harness this Taurus new moon, ask for what you want to build, create, to invest, and receive more of, right? All Taurus wants to build. It's an earth sign, fixed air. Build, create, invest, receive more of, so you can easily call in the energetic, the monetary resources you need to do so. So in the very beginning of this episode, I kind of talked a little bit of a money check. So I want to dig in a little bit deeper into this money check, because I want to ask you, how do you truly feel about money? Your feelings will either call in or repel this energy. Now, I know in my change making community, we have this gamut of people. We have like people who are still like ultra capitalists who are like money, 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 sell, sell, sell. I'm going to promise this, I'm going to promise that. And then we have people on like, the ultra anti-capitalist end who are like, well, I have all these services, but I don't want to charge for them because we should all have this. And I don't have the answer yet, but we have to have a new way. Capitalism does not work because capitalism depends on extraction, forever growth. It doesn't honor the natural cycle of growing and relaxing and growing and relaxing. It just depends on like, I'm going to take and take and take and take. It doesn't matter about anybody else. Everybody is replaceable. That's bullshit. We're getting rid of that. But the anti-capitalists are like, oh, I don't need any money, or I don't want to make any money. That doesn't work either, because we still live in a world where money is our energetic exchange, right? I want to see if you see money as an infinite energetic exchange, a tool that allows you to live a prosperous life where, some periods in your life, you're not going to have money, you're going to lose money, but can you believe that there's still money out there, energy out there that is going to come and support you? Or do you see money as the root of all evil used to manipulate and control through hoarding of power? Do I believe that billionaires are unethical? Abso-fucking-lutely. Excuse my language. I do not believe in the hoarding of all of that power and money. Okay. So remember, it's not the money that manipulates, it's people that do. Okay. Wouldn't the world be such a better and just place if people like you and me, good people like you and me, had more resources and money to do the good things in the world? If you had all of the resources that you need, all of that money that you needed in the world, what would you buy? What would you invest in? Who would you invest in? What would you share? What would you build? What would you protect? I love thinking about these questions. There's so much I would do. What would I buy? I would buy homes for like all of my extended family. I would buy college educations for all of my nephews and nieces. I would invest in my clients and my community. I would invest in more learning for children and women and protections from Mother Earth. There's so many things that I would build and share. And so, yes, I want more resources so I can do more of this. I'm doing it for my immediate family now, but I want to do it for my extended family. I want to do it for my community. I want to inspire people that, hey, yes, you can have this too. And it doesn't mean that we have to work hard and hustle. There's a part of us that needs to believe that it is possible. Ask the universe for help by stating what our vision is and what we want, and then letting the universe show us the way to take that inspired action. Now, let's come back to a little bit of practical. I know I kind of went out there, but those are the things that I think about all the time. When it comes to like the tangible physical things, right? This is very Taurus again. Taurus is about, the physical things. What do you own? What is that money that you have, that gold that you have? Like money is so intangible right now. But thinking about like physical money, what's the property that you have? What are the things that you have? What makes you feel protected? What makes you feel plentiful? What makes you feel satisfied? Please, my friend, invest in those things. Now, of course, you don't want to go overboard. Taurus can go overboard, right? Instead of like enjoying a 1 ounce piece of like decadent cheese or chocolate. I love cheese, I love chocolate. I can tend to overeat. We're not talking about that, but like, how can we start to train our body and listen to our body and our senses that says, if I can savor this really beautiful, maybe it's a little bit expensive, but it's high quality cheese or chocolate, I am going to feel so satisfied. And that satisfaction will grow and grow and grow. And so I want you to expand your vision of like what you need here and now to satisfy your soul, but then thinking about your business, thinking about your leadership. How can you create a metaphor in your business that makes you feel satisfied, that brings so much value to you? So let's take a look at this astrology of the Taurus new moon. And this is going to give us some insight as to how to create the best intention. Now, remember, new moons are a time of clarifying what you want, and we can use the astrology by understanding what house is being activated, meaning this Taurus new moon is at 18 degrees. If you're watching this on video, you'll see that I have the chart of the new moon cast here. I live in San Francisco, so this new moon chart is cast from San Francisco. Do not pay attention to the houses because depending on where you live, the houses are going to change. But when you do a new moon intention, what you want to do is you want to find the degree of that new moon. And so this new moon happens at 18 degrees of Taurus, and you want to find 18 degrees of Taurus in your natal chart. And the house that contains that point is the house that is being lit up. I call this an activation. And to me, this is where in your life and where in your business you want, you're being asked to create a fresh intention. So in this particular chart from San Francisco, the new moon is happening in the 6th house. Again, this might change for you. In my natal chart, 18 degrees of Taurus happens in my 12th house. We'll go by the houses later, but for right now, I want to talk about the astrology of this particular new moon. And so this beautiful new moon, you can see we have this giant Taurus stellium. We have Venus at 10 degrees, the new moon, sun and moon at 18 degrees, and then we have Jupiter all the way out at 25, Uranus still at 22. So remember, we're just about a week away, a couple of weeks away from that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Jupiter is moving so much faster than Uranus, but we have all of this beautiful Taurus energy. Venus, the ruler of Taurus, Venus loves to connect and attract the things and people, the resources and people she needs in her life to thrive. In Taurus, it's about attracting the resources we need to thrive. The new moon says, let's create a fresh intention for what we want in our lives so that we can thrive. Uranus is there as like, okay, well, let's break through whatever we thought that was possible. Like, can we liberate ourselves from there? Maybe we have old expectations of like what we should want that represents success, like a house with a picket fence and 2 cars and this and this and this. It's like, well, what are your values? Remember, go back to that. Like, that's what society says you should value. That's what that's what the media says you should value. That's what like consumerism says you should value. But we're breaking away from that. We do not need to overconsume. We just need to put our money according to our values, right? So stop buying cheap shit on Temu, okay? Just, don't buy bottled water. Don't buy cheap shit on Temu. That's what Uranus is saying, okay? Protect the environment. And then Jupiter, of course, wants us to go big. And so, what are our wildest dreams of what we want? Can we even state those dreams? If we can't even see those dreams or see the possibility of those dreams, how the heck are we going to ever ask the universe for what we want? And so this Taurus new moon, it's like, go big with the value that you want to cultivate in this world through your change making work. Go big on how you want to feel worthy of receiving. Go big on asking for what you want, the physical resources that will allow you to do the important things that we decide, that all of those questions: what would you buy? Why would you buy it? What would you invest in? Who would you invest in? What would you build? What would you protect? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself in order to ask the universe this new moon. Okay. Now you'll notice that in this chart, we have a trine, a kind of a wide trine. It's not exactly a trine yet with Pluto. So, that's like the biggest kind of aspect here is like that Pluto trine to Jupiter, but I'm not going to even talk about that. And then we have a bunch of sextiles. So the new moon is sextile to Saturn. And so Saturn is like, okay, I want to give you everything that you want within your means. Okay. What can you really use? What are you going to devote yourself to? What are you going to commit yourself to? So anytime we have a sextile, especially to something like Saturn, there's something that we need to do to open this up. So this to me is committed, right? Saturn still in Pisces. So how can we commit to our compassion? How can we commit to our emotional desires? How can we, forgive ourselves for any kind of trespasses if we felt that we've been living in scarcity or we've been wasting money? Even if you made investments or lost money, I want you to reframe those things as well. I feel like I'm really good at reframing when I've lost money, like, oh, okay, I guess I was supposed to lose that. What was the lesson I was supposed to learn from that? Or, say I invested in like some kind of course that wasn't up to par or didn't satisfy my needs. I look at the silver linings and I forgive myself, like, oh, okay, well, I guess I needed to do that in order to learn this. And oh, by the way, I didn't get what I expected, but I got these surprises instead. So Saturn is saying, hey, give yourself a little bit of compassion. Okay, what is that opportunity anyway? Sextile, right? So the astrology of this particular new moon, besides having just so much Taurus, the ruler is also in Taurus. Just go big. Allow yourself to relax. Give yourself compassion. Allow yourself to savor. Let us talk about some personalizations. Again, going back to those new moons, to get the best out of the personalizations, if you know how to find Taurus of 18 degrees on your natal chart, look for the house that occupies, listen for the house that is being activated, and that is the kind of intention that you are meant to set for yourself in your business and in your life. If you don't know that, listen for your rising sign. And if you don't know your rising sign, intuit which one feels best for you. So I'm going to go through 12 different personalizations for all houses and signs for this Taurus new moon. I want you to remember that with this Taurus new moon, you're being asked to plant your seeds of intention to build abundant value, sustainable growth in your life and work. If you simply need to work on feeling worthy and feeling valuable, hey, that is your intention right there. Okay. If there's something money mindset that you've been wanting to work on, add that in as well. Okay, so let's go through. So if you're an Aries or you have that Taurus of 18 degrees in your second house, with this new moon, you are planting the seeds to build abundant value and sustainable growth with your customer results and brand promises that elevate your excellence. So, you're serving your clients, maybe you're helping them with marketing, maybe you're helping them with messaging, maybe you're helping them with healing. But what is the result of their marketing, of their healing? That, my friend, is your brand promise. What is that result of transformation that you want to give your people that is abundant value and sustainable growth? So that's for Aries second house. If you are a Taurus rising or have the 18 degrees of Taurus in your first house, you're building abundant value and sustainable growth through your own leadership, your grounded leadership, your brand identity, how you are seen, how you are attracting others because you're so stepped into your own power. So, my friend, you knowing yourself is your value, how you lead and how you present yourself. For my Gemini friends, just like me, if you have this 12th house activation, then you are building abundant value and sustainable growth through your charitable causes. How do you give back? What is your philanthropy? Your philanthropy based in Taurian values of stability, security, and sustainability. If you're Cancer rising or have this activation in your 11th house, then this Taurus new moon for building abundant value and sustainable growth is happening for you in your soul communities and the social impact built around equitable environmental values for water, women, children protections. Okay, so you're creating an intention about bringing your wider networks and your platforms together, your soul communities, and how you create social change and culture. Leo risings, or if you have this up there in your 10th house, you're planting the seeds to build abundant value and sustainable growth for your sought after expertise and your mission to create feel good comfort. Okay, my friend. So I want you to see your taste making as your expertise. I want you to go all out on creating feel good luxury and comfort. This is very visible. So, how are you being seen in the world? How are you influencing others? How are you being respected and sought after for what you do and your mission? For my Virgo friends, or if you have your ninth house being activated, you're building abundant value and sustainable growth in your ideals, your purpose, your philosophy to expand sustainable, holistic growth and wealth through your health. And so, what is your purpose? What is your philosophy? If you don't know that yet, simply intend to say, hey, I need help with coming through. If you already know what your purpose is, double down on that. And how do you want to expand your purpose and your ideals so it gets known throughout the wider world? For my Libra friends, Libra rising, or if you have this in your 8th house, you're building abundant value and sustainable growth in this deep innermost power of yourself. You can also think about sustainable investments and leveraging of other people's resources for shared prosperity. This is going to take a lot of deep inner trust. And so learning how to trust your body and listen to your body to help you make those important decisions. For my Scorpio friends, or if this is in the 7th house, you are here to invest and build abundant value and sustainable growth through your loyal partnerships and collaborations with trusting long-term win-win relationships. So, call in your soul customers, call in how you want to connect with them, maybe through word of mouth, maybe through like secret, like down low, like, oh, this is like this perfect thing, like what's behind that like velvet rope. That's the best way for you to call in your most lucrative, abundant relationships. For my Sagittarius rising friends, or if you have this happening, this Taurus new moon in your 6th house, you're building your sustainable worth, growth, and abundant value from the 6th house with regenerative day-to-day operations, your automations, and daily routines that enable profitability and ease. So Sagittarius will always want to overdo, but if we're looking at our day-to-day operations and automations, how can you streamline this so that you have more spaciousness and more ease? Spaciousness does not mean adding more things, okay? So just take the most valuable things and how do you want to bank on that in your day-to-day automations and operations? Okay, Capricorn folks, or if this is in your fifth house, this is about creating abundant value and sustainable growth, not by just working hard, but also by playing hard. If you're not balancing out your passion and your fun and your creativity, your hard work is just going to sink you. Okay, so remember to value your fun as much as your work. For my Aquarius rising friends, or if this is at the bottom in your fourth house, activating your fourth house, you are here to create abundant value and sustainable growth through investing in your home life, your family life, your inner circle growth, all of your private spaces that feel like family in your work so that you can build intergenerational, secure abundance. Now, lastly, my Pisces friends, or if this is activating your third house, you are building your abundant value and sustainable growth through your voice and your message that expresses and teaches peaceful, plentiful, and steady outcomes. Tune in to the wisdom of your body, what your body is wanting to tell you, to communicate to you, and then learning to express that through your voice and your message. So work on your marketing and your promotions there, my Pisces friend, and your thought leadership. Okay, so that's all I have for this particular new moon. Remember, in short, this new moon really wants you to get clear about what you want to cultivate that is of value to you. How you want to feel peaceful and prosperous in your body is what you need to invest in. Remember that if you can start with that peacefulness, embodied and grounded peacefulness, everything else will ripple out. All right. So much peace and prosperity to you this Taurus new moon, my friend. Until soon. Bye for now. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.